Let's be real. Being being a business owner is hard. If you don't know me or my business, my name is Catherine Hubert. I own a French-inspired cafe in Greensboro, North Carolina. We've been open for 6 years now. So this is not my first year in business, but my 6th year in business. And we are on a mission to change the way that our world views and employs people with disabilities. We have an integrated work team, which means 50% of our staff are disabled, 50% are non-disabled. I am also the chef here. I do some speaking, coaching, working with other businesses and organizations, and I also pay a lot of bills. So let's dive right in. We're here. We are heading into a new year. It feels absolutely unreal to me that 2024 is about to close and we're heading into 2025. I feel like I did okay January to July this year, of feeling like each month was its own separate month. And then July through December has honestly felt like just one extra long month. I don't know what happened to the back half of this year. It has made me feel a little bit stressed, maybe more than a little bit at different times. But as I kind of get ready to roll over into a new calendar year, a new fiscal year, a new business year, I wanted to take just a minute and actually reflect back on the ways that I grew personally this year as a business owner, and as a result, how I grew my business. There's a lot of different ways that we can track growth. So we're going to talk a little bit about the emotional, mental side, things that I changed internally that really helped me have a different mindset and bring a different sort of presence or purpose into my business, how we grew as a team, what that looked like in terms of our structure, our financial growth, how we were impacted this year, and then the things that we are taking and applying from this business year into the next one. I realized towards the end of 2023 that I was spending a lot of time working to give my team the quality of life that I wanted for myself, but wasn't claiming that quality of life as my own. I was gifting it away. I came to a deeper realization that this work and my business is the biggest part of my life, but that I wasn't okay having it be the only part of my life. I have dreams and goals both inside and outside of work that I want to chase, and I need time, money, and energy to do that. So I had to get more honest with myself about what I actually needed and what I needed from my team as a result. This was not an easy process. It meant vigorously thinking, usually while cooking on the weekends, about what wasn't sitting right with me anymore. And it meant risking any fallout that might occur when I started making changes and advocating for myself. Okay, so our business did grow in some practical ways this year. The first one, after we kind of get through all of the mindset changes, which is honestly usually the biggest thing, changing that internal perspective, and then the external can flow from that. But the first thing that we did is we restructured some of the way that our management team operated, who all was on our management team, what those managers did. This was based out of observing really where we needed support the most, the days, the hours, and then roles and responsibilities, making, some adjustments there to accommodate for what the biggest needs of the business actually are, and making sure that we have our strongest teams and our strongest leaders available on those days. So that was the biggest change. The second thing that we did is that I started really stepping into more speaking this year, coaching and speaking with other businesses and organizations who are wanting to make their spaces more adaptive and inclusive to people with disabilities. My goal was to have 30% of my personal income come from speaking jobs this year, and I finished the year at about 50%. So that was really great. That surprised me. It was the first year. I've done some speaking over the past, 5-6 years that we've been open, but this was the first year that I really made a big push to kind of knock on every door and say, hey, these are the sessions and the courses that I've developed. This is what I have to bring to the table. This is what I have to offer your team. And it's been exciting to see that develop. And my hope and goal is that by the end of 2025, all of my income will come from speaking. The third thing that we did is that we revised our hours on the weekend. We've always been open every day from 8 to 2. And this fall and winter, I was just like, I cannot keep getting up in the dark on the weekends. It is making me dread those work days. And that's almost half of my week. So I can't dread half of my week. So we changed our hours from 8 to 2 to 8:30 to 2:30. And that 30-minute difference has made such a big difference from a team energy perspective. We all come into work just more energized and ready to start the day. It's been really helpful for me to not dread those days that I'm working in the kitchen, to feel like I just have a little bit more margin. And it actually, which was the kind of secondary reason to why we did it, is that I thought it could potentially create an uptick in our business on those days. And it has. We do probably 30 to 50 covers more now on a Saturday and a Sunday than we were when we were opening at 8. So it's made those days busier, but we're already all here. I'd rather be busy if we're going to be here. And so then that's helping with the financial part of our growth, which we'll get to in a second. And then lastly, we got our liquor license. So we've had our wine license since we opened. We added our liquor license. If you're not part of the restaurant industry, they are all separate. There's a separate license for wine, for beer, for liquor. You go through a different process. You pay for those permits individually and differently. So we went ahead and added the liquor license this year and developed a more thorough cocktail and bar menu, and that's been really exciting to grow too. Let's talk about financial growth. How did my business grow financially this year? This year we had our highest grossing revenue that we've ever had, and also I still don't feel like I'm paying myself or my team what I want to be, which is more indicative of the restaurant industry and how expensive it is to operate a restaurant, and not of how supportive our community and friends have been. But there are 5 specific ways that I feel like we did grow outside of just seeing an increase in revenue, which also meant an increase in expenses. The first is that we actually stepped into some business investments this year, taking the emergency funds that we have set aside and putting those into investment or CD accounts, so that our money that's sitting there is at least generating some more money. Our money is working for us. The second thing is that we changed banks. We were starting to hit a lot of roadblocks with the bank that we were at, and so changing to a bank where we had a personal connection and we had the ability to actually have more dialogue and conversation with our banker has been a huge help. The third is that I started speaking more, and I took that opportunity, since I'm still working full-time for the restaurant, to take my speaking income and start throwing that back into some of those investment accounts or into our savings account to help bolster that. Number 4, we've been paying down our debt actively that we have left over from the pandemic, trying to apply more towards our principal so that we can pay that off faster. And then lastly, we did reevaluate our menu prices for both our drinks and our food. So our food pricing went up some this year and our drink prices actually went down. So just know that that's something that we are constantly looking at, what makes sense in terms of what we're paying, and then also the value that people are getting out. Thank you so much for supporting my small business this year. Your dollars, your smiles, your encouragement, it means so much. It's about $15 approximately a head. So even just an extra 20 people a day pays for 1 to 2 extra people to be there. It makes a big difference in our bottom line, and it makes a big difference in our team's lives. And then the last thing that I did this year to grow my business is that I started spending more time and more energy outside of work doing things that lit me up, that helped me connect to other people, that made me excited and feel creative. It's been exciting to actually invest time and energy outside of my work walls too, and then ultimately see how that reinvigorates me and what I'm able to then bring back into my business and my work life.
I almost forgot. Station S teammates, your keyword this week is beginning.